Okay, let's go for it.
Okay.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. It is 7:08.
Yeah.
All right. We'll put the reviewing the minutes further down on the agenda. Does anybody have any news? What's going on with folks?
Closing up.
We're closing up too. It's very exciting.
Have you put your garlic in?
Yeah, garlic thin got covered this week. Yeah.
What do you use straw or?
Yeah, it goes in plastic and then in straw, and then there's usually Bree on top of it, I think, so the straw won't blow away.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, gaining ground. We did the garlic 2 Fridays ago, and that's all set. We're getting ready to do our last distribution for Food for Families this Saturday. So they're getting all their winter crops and their maple syrup, and they're getting everything for Thanksgiving. And then we have just a couple more distributions during the winter, but we're almost done.
Do you guys how many distributions do you do during the winter? Do you do any winter growing?
Yeah, we've got carrots and greens growing and a couple of the high tunnels, and so but they grow so slowly when it's not sunny or warm that we'll distribute twice to Bridge Boston, once to House of Hope, and that'll be pretty much it. And Anna's finished the last day of December, so we're getting ready to have a party for her.
She's finished for the season, or for?
She's finished. She's retiring. She bought a farm. She and her husband have a farm in Haverhill now. So
oh my gosh.
She's going off to be a farmer.
Wow. That's big news.
Yeah, she's been wonderful. So
do you guys have another farm manager coming on board?
We have the 2 assistants are going to take over. Wow. And then we have a director of farm operations. So we're getting top. Because we got this next week, the national park leased us 5 acres of mediocre land with, I think 2% organic matter somewhere behind the barn over there. And
where is it?
Where is it on the park?
It's off Lexington Road behind the big barn that they're renovating.
The white one? Oh yeah.
I think it was part of Cup's flowers for a while. Even though he wasn't leasing it, he was farming it. And we planted cover crop and have cut it down a couple times, but I think we'll probably try and plant an acre over there next year and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, because it won't go really well without, we're going to have to compost and amend for 10 years, but it'll be good.
Wow.
Joe's back. Say something. Damn.
Sorry, Joe. I assume you can hear us, right? Yeah. All right.
Well, I don't know what to do about that one. Well,
he can write in the chat box anything he wants.
Oh yeah, you could do that. Joe, do you know where the chat box is? You can type in there. I'll pull it up. Let's see if he says anything.
Under more.
So far he hasn't said anything.
Okay.
Working on it.
Well, that's exciting, Polly.
Yeah.
Big changes.
Big changes.
Yeah. So is the director of farming is like an overarching position, and then is it Maddie and?
It's Carrie and Chrissy.
Carrie and Chrissy. Okay.
2 assistant managers this year.
Oh, cool.
I think one of them will be maybe more over at the national park site. And we have so much to figure out, like where do most of the volunteers go?
Yeah.
Fortunately, all the farmers want to come back, so that's good,
Oh, that's great.
but splitting it into two places just, it's gonna be, well, you know it. It's like you've got, yeah, you know the joy of driving farm machinery down.
Oh yeah,
down the street.
through downtown Concord. Yeah, always fun. Nothing like taking the rotary to get to your fields.
Yeah.
You take the rotary over at near the prison?
No, not that one, thank God. No, just
Oh.
just in downtown Concord. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Just the one and the little one does it. But that's honestly that during like in rush hour in the morning, Monument Street backs up sometimes, like all the way, like what's the road that cuts over Lang Street? It will back up all the way back there, and then Lowell Road will back up all the way from the four-way stop into downtown.
Wow.
So we can't do anything during that. Like, there's no point though. They'll just be sitting in traffic on the way over to their field. So we kind of have to time it so that we skip that portion of the day. Same thing going over to Barrett's Mill. We'll get stuck on traffic. We're just in traffic on the way over there. Yeah. And then like, people drive like absolute loony bins and don't really, passing tractors. Like it can be a little terrifying.
Yeah.
Not a lot of fun, but you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. Occasionally we drive from our farm on Route 2 over to our property in Lincoln on 126.
Yeah.
That can be kind of hairy.
That makes you popular, yep.
Yeah, I feel like people are a little.
Right.
Does anybody else have anything other big news? Anything going on?
Closed everything up, hoping next year's better.
Yeah. We're still doing the self-serve porch on the honor system, and we've got one more farmers market on Monday, and then we got a lot of potatoes to keep selling, but other than that, we're winding down.
Do you have any kale in there?
We have some kale, not a lot though. We have some kale on the porch, and they'll take some to the market, but there's not a ton left. Well, I don't know if Steve's coming back or what here. Does anybody have any other news, or should we move on?
Let's move on.
Moving on.
Yeah, well, wait, Happy, how are things on your farm?
Cold. I'm finishing my garlic tomorrow, I hope.
Okay.
And the chickens are all laying and being very happy, but they would like to have some sunshine.
Yeah.
We've given up on cover crops, I think.
Why so? Just this late and too late, or?
Yeah, it's too late, and we just didn't have our act together, so we're just going to let the weeds hold everything down.
Well, that can work pretty well.
All right, should we talk about the checkout bag fee exemption article?
Oh, sure.
What's
I mean,
next?
I went to that meeting, and basically the moderator said that she'd gotten some language from you.
Yeah, so you guys approved. I've missed the last two meetings, so you guys approved the written exempt, like the added language to the checkout bag fee article. So since you guys approved it, I sent it over to the moderator, so it will go before a town meeting. I think they asked me to present it at the select board meeting on December 2nd, which I'm happy to do. I think usually they have had people do like PowerPoint presentations about articles. They're trying to discourage those, was what I heard from the moderator. So great, because I don't want to make a PowerPoint presentation. So that sounded fine to me. So I'm happy to just talk about it. And then there was some question mark as to whether or not when it goes to the town meeting portion, if it would be included with like a bunch of sort of non-controversial packaged stuff, and that it would just be like quickly passed through, or if it would have to go in front of the more general regular stuff where like probably one of us, maybe me, would have to go up and present and then they would vote. I think the select board would be deciding that, whether or not it goes one way or another. I hope it's not controversial. I hope it's pretty straightforward. The select board so far has been pretty, everybody I've talked to in there seems like, of course, why didn't we think of this the first time around? So.
But, I mean, I briefly talked about what it was, but I was the last to talk. So by then, an hour meeting turned into an hour and 50 minutes, and everybody, I think, wanted to get out of there. So they seemed very uninterested in bags or bag fees at that point.
The last two of those chairs meetings I went to, they went well past the hour and I had to leave before I even got to say anything. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with them. They used to be like exactly an hour, which was nice. And now, I don't know, just too many people have too much stuff going on, or they're just not as organized.
It seemed like a lot of people were trying to describe what their committee did.
Yeah.
In as much detail as they could. So it wasn't just like what's new. It's like we're the blah blah committee and we
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. There was someone that talked about the that Superfund site in West Concord,
Mm-hmm.
and Henry Dane, is it? Henry Dane said that he was just glad the town was going to pay for it because it's like $300 million to
Clean it up.
the remedy that they're doing. But it's sort of interesting to see how many committees there were. I had no idea how many there were in the town, but
Yeah, there's a lot, and it's all like volunteer run. So you really realize how much of the town is just volunteer government.
right.
Eye opening. Yeah.
And old, like my age and older. It's like,
I feel like I'm frequently the youngest person in there by like 2
yeah, I
days.
can imagine. There
Yeah,
are a few professional people in the room that I take it are like running different parts of the town that are younger, but other than that, it seems proven.
There's a group in town that's like trying to get more participation in town committees and like try to figure out how to make things more like equitable, and like how can you participate in town committees if you have a full-time job and are raising a family, and like what are some barriers to entry to folks doing that. I think they're doing surveys, they're getting ready to get a bunch of stuff, just try to figure out what are some barriers to entry. I know one of them was like a lot of folks don't necessarily want to, like, it's not required, but in some meetings they like everybody has to state their address, and some people find that like, they don't want everyone to know where they live. So trying to figure out, like, since
Right.
there's not a legal requirement, so like less culture around that too. Anyway, it was interesting. I'm be curious to see what they come up with. Alrighty, that was the bag fee exemption update. Moving on. We talked about nonprofit language at Ag Day, I guess. So
We did, but I did not draft it yet, so
all right, we'll talk about it next month.
postpone, yeah.
I will say just about Ag Day, we already have our permit for September 7th. That's already been signed off by the town and the police department. So I think the next step is to get the banner stuff ready, but we are all on the books with the town already.
Maybe we should go for 2025 while we're at it.
We are it is us and the tough ruck, right? That what was March race, that thing. It's like kind of a race, I guess. It's us and them. We're the only two events for 2025 that have already been approved. I was asked by them why do we always do this so early? And I said, because it's the winter and I have time to think about it. But partially also because stuff for the 250th is like gearing up, and so I kind of wanted to get us on the calendar so that we wouldn't be competing with other events. So we're already on the town calendar, so anybody who's planning an event can already see that ours is there.
Very smart, Liza.
job.
Trying to think ahead. Spring Forum. Should we move on to? Oh, Steve's here.
Hey, Steve.
Yay.
Saw your picture for a second.
Geez, I've been trying. I don't know
There
what
you are.
happened here. I've been trying for half an hour to get in.
But you
Oh.
made it, Steve.
So you have any news from your farm?
Well, I've been trying to get my head out of a flock of turkeys that flew in.
Oh, no.
Well,
Um, yeah, I don't know, not much. Everybody's frozen up pretty much now and things are in.
okay.
We're happy to say goodbye to the season.
That's everyone's feeling. Steve, we were just about to talk about the spring forum.
Oh, good, good. I don't see Rick Marshall on here.
He has not popped in yet.
No, I was talking to him yesterday and I thought he might be on tonight, but I tried to get him to come in.
I resent him the link too this morning.
Oh, did you?
It's-
Did he ask for it?
No, I just sent it
No.
to him because I saw your
Yeah.
email.
I sent it to him and yeah, okay. I guess Eric Nelson, somebody else maybe we should think about.
Mhm.
He does some farming in Concord. He lives in Concord, but his main business is in Acton. So I don't know how we look at that.
He's like the opposite of me. I don't live in Concord, but my business is in Concord.
Um,
Is he still a fireman?
oh yeah. Oh no, you say a fireman or a farmer?
Fireman. I know that he.
No, he's retired from that now.
Oh,
Perhaps
Um,
somehow we should send maybe the recording of the meeting to these people and let them see what it's like.
What a fun group we are.
right. We can
Another
talk
thing I
about-
don't know is you could come up farmers and farmers, they're no business, but I guess we all know Billy Kenny's moving out. And that land's gonna be up for use. And as I understand it, there are a number of different town organizations that think they have appropriate desired uses for it. But I think somewhere buried deep in the deed is something that should say in agriculture.
Mm.
So I think that's something we need to think about. I don't know whether any of this group's interested in farming it or not, but it's a lot of nice land.
Have you thought of it, adding it to your?
No, we have enough to handle.
Right.
Brian said he was interested.
Brian did.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where was the land that he farmed, or is the land?
It's hidden.
Oh.
It's a nice chunk of land though, except in a wet year.
I don't know. It sounds like you could put some cows or sheep on it, Steve.
Pardon?
Sounds like you could put some cows on it.
Oh. I don't need many more cows than what we have.
All right, let's spring
Well,
forum.
So did we end up on the spring forum? There was some talk about how we should get a speaker that worked really well this last spring forum.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it was nice to bring someone kind of academic. That was fun, and I think educational. I did have a thought. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that email that I sent around from the Conservation Commission, Middlesex County. They were having a speaker talk about climate change So maybe looking at some of their past speakers might be a good way to figure out who maybe comes around and does talks.
I've had a couple possibilities come to my head.
Oh yeah?
One would be about IPM, which is both conventional and organic. And to bring out the thought that goes into planning and the detail and everything, all the way from cover crops and compost to insect monitoring and temperature monitoring to see how fast the insects are going to hatch and so on. And there's a lot there that might be of interest to people. And the other thing would be to have various farmers in town talk about what they like the population to know about their farm.
It's a good idea.
I didn't pay attention to the, I think it was the last Concord magazine, but this woman whose property,
Excuse me, Happy, could you talk a little closer to the mic or a little louder? You're not coming in very good.
the woman who wrote an article, or it was about her, and I believe her last name is Lawrence, but I can't remember for sure. But they don't farm now, but they have still property. And she was talking about her parents and grandparents and what they did on their farm. And she sounded very interesting, but I didn't get a lot of detail.
Sarah Lawrence?
Yeah,
Well, what's the name?
Sarah Lawrence. She was my neighbor. growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she still lives in her parents' house, but most of their farm is now owned by the Renfros, the Water's Edge horse farm.
mm. But she talked a lot about her parents and grandparents and what they did. And if we're just going on a soft side, that might be something of interest. The article was terribly short, and it sounded like something that could be enlarged.
I mean, certainly the historical aspect of farming in Concord is always interesting. What Steve has to say about it is always very interesting. Maybe you should be our speaker, Steve.
No, I think if everybody could talk about their own farms, that might be of interest.
Sure.
Well, as you remember from several years ago, we had articles on every farm in the former Concord Journal, and maybe go back and revisit those in preparation for 2025.
Yeah.
I'm remembering the forum at the Concord Museum where Steve
Oh.
and, you know, there were 3 farms represented, and I think there was really great interest, and I think people did respond to it. As Steve said, people really enjoyed it.
I think that could be really interesting. The other thing, I mean, I do think like the environmental effects on farming could be interesting also. I mean, I don't know, you know, who you would get for a speaker, but someone, you know, it'd be, if you could get someone who's really been studying that, that could be pretty interesting too.
Yeah, I think I was the only reason I didn't attend last meeting, but I did read the notes. And there is a speaker that's coming to talk about climate change and the effect of farming at that conservation district thing. I don't know if anybody went to that talk or if it's still coming up. I can't remember. But we could also probably look like maybe talking to the Conservation Commission too about where they get their speakers, how they find people, and any topics they've talked about might be a good road to go down too, if we want to do the more academic route.
Yeah,
I think we should-
I liked the climate change topic idea. I feel like we'd probably have, if we could find a speaker, I feel like there'd be a nice cross section of people interested, maybe like a slightly different crowd than we sometimes get.
I mean, I know we don't really have any money to pay for a speaker. We do have a small amount of money in our account with the town because we've been very fortunate and had Stone Soup pay for a lot of things for the past couple of years. So we could offer something very small, but we couldn't really pay for like a real speaker fee.
Mhm.
Did we pay anything last year?
No.
And she paid her way here and everything, and that was nice of her.
Steve made her dinner.
Oh, wow.
We gave her a gift bag full of stuff from,
Yeah,
Oh, right.
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could go big and ask Bill McKibben if he wanted to come. He comes back for lots of things and he might do it for free.
Sure.
Are state employees supposed to get paid for giving talks?
Who's that happy? You mean like the woman last year, or?
Well, like anybody who works for the state, like for the agriculture department or whatever, are they supposed to be given money? Or is that part of their job?
I think to a certain extent, it's part of the job with people in the extension service. That's what they're supposed to do, is spread the knowledge.
But would you say that anything that we've experienced in the last few years, I mean, it's so hard to know cause and effect, but it has to do with climate change? I mean, for instance, this nonstop rain all summer, it's sort of, I don't know, I guess that would be the challenge. How do you determine what's, I mean, and I don't know, like even like this sedge grass that we seem to, sedge, well, it's not grass, but
Not such.
nut sedge, it's like, I don't know, we've never had this problem before. I don't know if this has anything to do with climate change or the amount of rain.
We've had it for a number of years, but we're getting rid of it kind of. But I think that came in mixed with corn seed about 30 years ago.
And then the challenge for us is, since we're organic, you know, it really limits what we can do about it. And I've even thought that, I mean, granted that we only have about 7 acres that we can grow on, but potentially taking half of it out of organic certification just to deal with the grass, and then, you know, kind of rotate it back in another 3 years or however long it is. But I mean, anyway, I'm kind of getting off the topic.
Well, it sounds like we have a couple different sort of main topic ideas. Should we maybe do some investigating on seeing if we can find some speakers and or fleshing out an idea of just having the farmers talk about history of their farms and what's currently going on? Anybody have a strong opinion one way or the other?
Well, I strongly think that see who you can find that sounds interesting or has a line that we would be interested in first.
Yeah.
So our inner strength. Otherwise, we'll have to rely on ourselves.
Sounds good.
But if we look at both of them, then we'll have 2 years worth done.
Yeah,
There you go.
next year's planned also, perfect.
Next year one will coincide nicely with the birthday party if we're talking about all the different farms.
That's true, that would be really right on
Would be-
point, wouldn't it?
And then maybe sort of throw in some history of farming and,
The history of the land, yeah,
right.
and tie it all into the 250th. Okay,
I think everyone should wear authentic clothing of the period, farming clothing.
oh boy. All right, well, we'll come back to that next month. We'll keep talking about it, but if anybody, please do some investigating, try to find some speakers, maybe some leads on people we could ask that have interesting stuff to talk about. Next topic is the Ag Committee logo. This is something that I meant to talk about 3 months ago, and then I haven't been here. So, do you guys kind of remember the current Ag Committee logo they don't want us to use because it has the Minuteman in it, and I guess that's trademarked. Whatever it is, that we're still not allowed to use it. The new communications person, who's not new, but she was new this summer, or well, whatever, she's new to me, Donna, who's super nice, actually volunteered to design us a logo that we could use that would be not trademarked. She was, her first sort of like stuff that she sent me looked very like Midwestern, like it was a lot of like wheat sort of stuff, and like you know, the barns that are like, what are they, you know what I mean, but like we don't have a barn that looks like that, is what I'm trying to say. Does anybody have any, aside from a Minuteman, which we can't touch, is there any other sort of like imagery that maybe we should sort of give her as a guideline?
Was that decision on the Minuteman from a town council?
Apparently, yes, that came from
The
town
same
council.
one we have now or somebody else?
That's a good question. I can re-ask, but I'm keep
I
getting
mean,
the answer.
it seems to me if you have a farmer with a plow with the emblem, that we should be as free to use that as anybody in town.
I will
Maybe
ask.
we had it first.
Right.
Right.
Maybe we should see if the town can use it.
Right. We'll let them use it. Largeness.
I can ask again. Do we have any other, aside from that, if we get shot down again, do we want to develop an Ag Committee logo that we can have on all our stuff and look official, or do we just not, we just don't need a logo? That's the other option. Most committees don't have a logo. Like it's unusual that a committee would have a logo.
Yeah.
Oh, we need a logo.
Concord grape is famous, but none of us grow 'em.
Right. They definitely don't super want it to look like the town seal is the other thing, because we're not a town department. We're just the committee.
I don't know, they're gonna take down my weather vane?
You're gonna cover it up, put a sheet over it.
Yeah.
We could create a lot of buzz for the Ag Committee by resisting.
By getting in a lawsuit? Yeah.
Well, you know, my one disappointment with my weather vane is that I never got it so I could shoot blanks out of the musket.
Oh, God.
But I'm afraid to even inquire about the mechanics of doing that now, or I'd end up in jail.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Concord PD would be too thrilled with that.
It is a 1/2-inch pipe that you could take a nice shot right through it.
We have a few other veins on a couple of our buildings in Lincoln, and the previous owner's kids, I think, used them as target practice. There are lots of holes.
Oh, that's famous for weather vanes around.
Well, So aside from the Minuteman holding a pitchfork, I mean, a pitchfork's not bad.
I think we should update it. Liza, you can hold the pitchfork.
If we make, well, honestly, if we make it a woman, does it then not fall? Does it not count? Does we
No,
not
it could
violate
be,
the trademark?
yeah, it could be a woman holding a scuffle hoe. I mean, we could update it.
I'm sure our town equity person would be for that.
There we go.
It's actually not a bad idea. Like if we update it enough so it's not recognizable as the Minuteman, then
Right.
We
I
just-
Woman.
we can take his hat off.
yeah. It's just a person holding a fork.
Yeah.
I will ask Donna what she thinks she can do to make it look like it can pass. Because she offered to help us. So.
Yeah.
I investigate the Minuteman first, I think. But,
I've been told by three
that
different
might be a done deal.
I feel like I've been told by three different people. We've been trying to figure this out for 2 years. That like it's definitely a no-go. But I also feel like we changed it enough that they couldn't tell. So I'll ask again.
Well, I just
Two
like
Minuteman,
who
maybe.
holds the copyright.
Yeah, and I still don't have the answer to that one.
We could create the 2-minute man.
We put 2 in there? Yeah.
2 minute.
Well, we could put a man and a woman.
We could have like that quintessential. What is that painting? Famous painting of the man and woman. One's holding they're holding a pitchfork or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American Gothic.
Yeah. Well, adapt American Gothic.
All right. I'm gonna talk to her, see if we can get something by next year. Because it would be nice. All right. Other business. Do we have any other business?
Well, we were gonna go back over the minutes, but now Joe is not only muted, but he's lost his face.
Oh no.
Say, when I was having trouble logging in tonight,
Hmm.
I went onto the town website looking for the Ag Committee to get the logo, the
Well,
link right off of that. And I didn't see it. Arts was the first thing, and I didn't see the Ag Committee.
I find the town website very difficult to navigate.
yeah.
Like even when like I send in the minutes and the agenda to get posted, like even finding that is often not intuitive.
But I clicked on agendas and minutes,
Hmm.
and the thing that came up was arts.
How did you get on, Steve? Eventually.
Finally, I just rebooted the computer and went back to Liza's email and
Right.
clicked on that, and it worked
Huh.
second time around. But
Right.
I was half on before. I could see people's names,
Right.
no pictures and no sound.
Yeah, and we still don't really have Joe fully.
Joe was going to add something to the minutes, or because I mean, I read the minutes; they looked
It was
good.
good.
But I don't. He wanted to add something, or
I mean, he mentioned that he had forgotten to include the information about Bill Kenny, although that is now in this week's minutes.
right.
But-
And I don't know.
But
Who's,
I could just propose that we add a sentence to last week's about it had come up that Bill Kenny was retiring and moving possibly to Western Mass. That's all we knew.
and so who would be doing the minutes for this week?
I'm doing the minutes for this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Melissa graciously offered.
Yes.
Grace was unable to make the meeting. All right, so Melissa proposes that addition. Does anyone second that?
I'll
Second.
second that.
Thank you, Steve. I would propose, well, I can't because I wasn't there last week. Would anybody like to propose the minutes be approved with the addition?
I'll propose it.
Okay.
And it's be approved with the addition.
Who was
Joe
it?
seconded it.
Joe
Seconded it.
seconded it. I saw it. Thanks, Joe. Great. So the minutes are approved with that addition. Did we have any other business? Anybody have anything else we need to talk about? Nope. All right. Any public comment? Polly?
I made it at the beginning, sorry. I'm all used up.
Great. Is December 14th work for everybody for our next meeting? I think that's the second Thursday.
Okay.
Is that okay for folks?
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Anybody like to motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Happy.
Joe seconded it.
Joe seconded.
Mhm.
All right, guys, meeting adjourned. We'll see you all in December.
Okay. Have a good
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Right.
except for the turkey.